Pop up for a second. Big hand for Roy Haywood, please. Thank you. Now, I suppose we'll throw it out to you guys shortly, but I'll just get the ball rolling. Roy, we should really probably start off talking about Joan. Yeah. Because I suppose if it weren't for her, none of that would have ever happened, you know.
No, certainly not.
So, you know, what kind of memories do you have of her? What was the experience like doing those?
She was fantastic. You know, she took a load of kids off the street, put them on a stage, and taught us things. You know, there was some she taught to play the piano. We done kendo on stage and all sorts of things. You know, plus improvisations. You know.
Fantastic. What strikes me is just how much fun you seem to be having. I mean, you were obviously. You know.
Yeah, well, she was a fun person, you know.
Yeah. And how frequent would you go there? I mean, how many times a week would you?
It depends. Every Friday when the theatre ran on, she'd have a posh night, as you see with all the boys getting the stuff up, you know. And that was our posh night, and we'd improvise and do things.
Yeah.
And during the week we'd just turn up and go upstairs and watch her play, you know. And she used to say, "Barrickham, if you don't like it, call out, shout at them, give it to them," you know. Which we never did.
It was far too well behaved to do that sort of thing. So when Barney came in on the scene then, he was making this documentary. How did you find him? I mean, he seemed to sort of breeze in, this sort of long-haired bohemian chap from West London.
Potato head, we used to call him. But he was okay, you know, bit posh. You know,
bit posh, yeah.
Bit posh, yeah.
But you sort of hit it. I get the impression you sort of hit it off with him. There was something about him and you.
Oh, he was so laid back. He was horizontal. He was like, you know. I mean, how many geezers let, say, between four and 8 guys go around your house, like turn up? He's turn up around here and you go, "Oh, I was just going out." So he said, "Come in, play some sounds." You know, so he go in and play a few sounds. Oh, he said, "Take your boots off." That weren't good, I tell you. But then he'll go, "Oh, I've got to go now. Here's the keys. Look up. Put through the letterbox." You know.
So he trusted you, really. There was a lot of trust there.
Well, it wasn't until we found his racky back.
And what was it like being filming in Stratford? Did you catch? You know, were people wondering what was going on when you were out in the streets and the little film crew there? People asking what's happening here?
Some were, yeah, but others like, "Oh, look at them brats," like, you know, things like that. You know,
Yeah.
They can't act. You know.
Yeah. One of my favourite. I mean, I'm a big fan of Irene's mum.
Yeah. Sam's mum.
And that was Sam's mum.
Yeah.
Sam, who's Bronco Bullfrog, that was his mum.
Yeah.
So Frida Shepherd, who always strikes me as being quite a formidable woman.
Lovely lady. We used to come home from school. It was about 6 or 7. Go round Sam's house, freezing winter, and she'll give us toast and soup, you know, and things like that. Lovely lady.
Yeah.
You know.
I get the impression she really enjoyed the experience.
Oh yeah, she did. She natural, wasn't
She was natural, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. I'll throw it open to you guys now. If you have any questions for Roy, please do fire away. So please, you know, if anyone has a question, please raise your hand. We've got a microphone, I think. This gentleman down here.
You painted rather a desperate picture of life in the East End for youngsters at that time. 50 years on, half a century on, if you were to make that again, would it be more optimistic, do you think, for those youngsters?
Some. You know, it's what with universities now and people will be able to get into them. You know, it gives more to the youngsters. You know, and if it weren't for Joan, a lot of us would have been in prison. You know, she took us off the streets and she spent time with us. You know, as I used to correspond to her, and she said to me one day, "Roy," she in the letter, "Roy, your writing's disgraceful. Sorry, your spelling's disgraceful." So I had a little go back at her, and next day, or what, a couple of days, there was a police car come round this corner, knocked on my door. I went, "Oi, Haywood." I went, "Yeah. Can you come to Bow Police Station?" Oh shit, what have I done? You know. So I said, "Can I follow you up in your car?" I said, "Yeah, yeah." So I followed them up, got to Bow, went in. I said, "Have you got any ID?" I was still thinking, I've not done nothing, I'm not jumping no lights, you know. I got in there, and they said, "Have you got some ID?" I went, "Yeah." "Give me the ID." Give me the ID, showed them, and give me a parcel. Got it home, electric typewriter, with a spell check on it and everything, you know. Not a woman, you know. You know. I still got it.
I mean, that's one of the things about, I mean, obviously watching Bronco. I mean, you know, you could see Stratford at that time. And obviously a lot's changed around there in the intervening years in terms of buildings. I mean, you've always lived there, Roy,
Yeah,
you're still there.
Still there, yeah.
So you've seen how much it's changed.
Oh, it's phenomenal, like the way things have changed, the buildings going up, and the thing is though, it's all for the money, you know. It's all sort of Chinese investment and, you know, big bankers coming in, you know. But around Olympic Park, it's lovely, you know. I mean, some people slag it off, but like, you know, you go through there, better than marshalling yards, what it was years ago, you know. But,
Do we have any other questions, please? Gentleman at the back there.
Did any of you do more acting afterwards?
no, not as such. Me and Sam used to go around knocking over pennies in pubs for people, like, you know, and picking numbers out of a hat for, like, you know, different. Most of them was like Catholic clubs, like I used to call it the Catholic Club, and they used to have like shindigs and things.
Well, they get you along to do.
Yeah,
do
you
bits
pull
of
out something out the hat
Yeah.
and, you know, do bits and pieces.
Yeah.
You know.
But you weren't sort of tempted to carry on with the acting? So.
No, I think what happened was Barney went, when we went with Barney, he went sort of another way, like, you know, we were still friends, and Joan took off with the other youngers who was coming through, you know.
Yeah. Any other questions, folks?
Yeah.
David?
Yeah, just when we showed the film at the Docklands Museum back in 2006, something like that,
Yeah.
Barney was working on another film, and it strikes me that a lot of his work was about capturing people as they existed, but this time it was among young people in the, I think, Moroccan port, wasn't it? And they're trying to get away from their, you know, the restrictions of family and culture there.
Yes.
Perhaps you could say a couple of words.
Yes. Yes, Barney's final film, which unfortunately I cannot remember the name of now, but because Barney did spend many years going back and forth between the UK and Morocco, and he did actually make, and it took quite a while to get it together to do it, but he did make a final feature film in Morocco, and the story isn't a million miles away from Bronco, really, in that, you know, it sort of depicts the kind of restrictions that young people have when they want to be together, the kind of confines of their environment, and the impact that has upon their relationship. But it seems to be a theme that he kind of, you know, even Private Road has aspects of that too. I mean, if you've ever seen Private Road with Susan Penhaligon and Brian and Bruce Robinson, yes, the guy who wrote With Nell and I. So again, it's in a more middle class sort of milieu, but again, the subject matter is in the same ballpark, really. So it's obviously a kind of a subject area that interested Barney. But like I say, you know, he didn't really. I think he was, although he had a lot of interest initially in becoming a filmmaker, I personally think there was something about the industry which I think sort of put him off in some ways. You know, we used to have some conversations about this sort of thing, but I think Barney was just the kind of guy who didn't really sort of like to conform particularly well with systems, and I think he liked to work outside them. And as I mentioned, he did put a lot of energy into community filmmaking around West London, Notting Hill, and giving people young people chances to make their own films. I do think he did have a connection with young people, and I think that's why that you guys got on so well with him.
Well, he had, it was like a yacht, but it was an old yacht, and like inside was all gutted, and we went off to Cowsweek with him, fantastic,
Yeah.
Load of East End kids over there with all the poshes,
Yeah.
causing trouble.
Yeah, I think there was that thing, the kids in Stratford, they hadn't really been far outside the area if at all, and Barney and Joan gave them sort of open windows to go different places. They'd take you to like the Isle of Wight,
Yeah.
or
Oh, yeah,
take
yeah.
you fishing or
Yeah.
do different things.
We even went to,
So, yeah.
yes, mate. I thought I turned it off.
So some sentimental music kicking into this poignant part of the story.
Not just laughing. No, but what was I going to say? Yeah, go off. Yeah, go off. Yeah, so Barney, he'd take us to nice restaurants,
Yeah.
and we went to Lord Astor's house in someone liked. Someone wants me. I'm money. No, Barney took us to Lord Astor's house in Sandwich Bay, and that's where on the he runs an actor on the old golf course.
Oh, that's where that was.
Yeah, and he had a putting green in his back garden. So there's about 8 of us there, might be more. And we've all lined up, 4 this side, 4 that side, and there we are, aiming balls at each other. At the time he finished, his putting green was like a plough's, been over it. Yeah. But, and had the old butler there come up and put wood on the fire, and big breakfast lay there in the mornings, help yourself. We've had some good times.
Brilliant. Any other questions? Gentleman here, please. Thank you.
Thanks. I just wanted to ask you, when you were doing the film, you'd obviously got a good relationship with the director and working with Joan being in the theatre. When he came to do the film, was it shot a bit like a documentary? Did you kind of do everything in one take, or did you kind of, if you needed to, have another take, and did they kind of give you marks so that you could be in the right light or the right focus, things like that?
Yeah, well, Barney said a few times, he said, we get our marks. Whether you believe him or not, it's another story. But we did some of it, especially on the train thing, we was robbing the train. That took a few takes, and he said, "Can you be sick again? Leave me alone." Don't turn away from the camera when you're big sick. Do it facing the camera. I'm going, I can only be sick once. But no, and Joan, I said to Joan one day, I said, "Did you see the film, Joan?" She went, "Yes." So I said, Did you like it?" She went, "What the F was it?" She said, "Oh, what I taught you," she said, you took no notice of. I said, "No," but he said, be yourself. I said, "That's what he was."
And could I just ask you, when the royalty came to see it after your invite, did they spend much time on what did they say to you about it? What were their thoughts on it?
I forget exactly what they said now, it's a long time ago, but I remember we was in the toilet, a couple of us, and just coming out, washing our hands, and Sam said, "I wonder what would happen if I put my hand on her leg." And this copper went, we didn't know he was a plainclothes copper, went, "That's what'll happen."
I do remember Sam saying that, because he did sit next to Princess Anne during the screening, and the scene when Irene is having that sort of set to with her mum, apparently Princess Anne turned to Sam and said, "Yeah, I can relate to that." So obviously there's no different between mums and daughters in the royal household as it was in the block of flats in East London, so. The question over here.
How much of the film was improvised? How much the action, and how much was actually scripted?
Well, he had a script, We looked at it and went, no, we don't talk like that, Bon. You know, we're not doing that. You know, what you see is what you get, and that's how it come about, you know. It's all a true story. Everything in there happened, you know, to one another of us. The girl, like in the love story bit, that come from one of the other lads, you know, and it just, everything was on there. What you see is all true, you know. The marshalling yards, there used to be two. There's one in a place called Temple Mills in Stratford, another one in Leighton. And they always used to get robbed. It was you know, there was always robbing, you know. Everyone, like, I'll come home, gone in one room, there's been a load of shirts all stacked up to the ceiling all the way round, you know. Or when I was a kid, they put me under the floorboards, come out and put out a load of like small bottles of scotch, like, you know. So if you got raided, police wouldn't go down there. Only a little kid could get in there, you know. So that was my job, getting under the floorboards.
Thank you.
Question over here.
Did you know how they chose the music? Because this bloke is Howard Morgans, who did the music from that. Do you know how they chose it, and did any of the actors know the musicians that were involved in it?
You know more about that, don't you?
Yeah, because it was Howard did the music. Yeah. Hello, Howard. And Howard is Howard from the audience here with the big tune. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, I'm not sure. I think it was probably chats between. I presume Barney asked you, didn't he?
Yeah, I think our manager at the time, we'd only been together a few months.
Yes.
And our manager somehow knew Barney.
Yes.
And that's where it came about.
Yeah, and it worked so well. I think it's such a great thing, you know. And
great
I think
thing to look back at. It's the first I've re-listened to it for a long time.
yes,
Hear my own voice singing along.
that's fantastic. No, it sounds wonderful. And also the sequence when the guy takes Dell out to look at the pigeons, that musical sequence, that's the audience as well, is it?
Yes,
yeah, I mean that.
it all is
Yeah,
through everything.
I mean that's wonderful. I love the music in that sequence. It's very kind of moving part of the film, I find. Yes, but no, it's wonderful to have you here. So
Yeah, it was good to see it.
Yes.
I haven't seen it, but it's so long. I've got it on Blu-ray, but I've never actually put it on.
Right. Okay.
I think I wrote the sleeve notes on that.
Okay. Yes, that's right. Was it part of an LP or did it become? Was it released?
Yeah, our first album, which was just audience.
Yeah.
Some of the tracks were related to that, and then later on, a CD was put out by a company called RPM.
That's right.
And it had mixed up the
Mixed
tracks
up the
from
dialogue
the first
and-
album and
That's right.
stuff from here.
Yes. No, that's great. No, brilliant. Yeah. Any more questions? We've got a couple of hands down the back here.
Yeah, no, I was wondering. Oh God, yeah. No, I was wondering about the clothing that you guys were wearing, because I'm getting the impression that it was kind of things that you'd already been wearing and stuff that you sort of normally wore, and kind of how you got into that style and what you were wearing at the time and music that you were listening to, I guess.
The boots.
Yeah,
And there's the clothes, the suede head
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
thing.
I was telling Ian earlier, in Everyone's an Actor, the clothes and fashion, you could see what we wore, you know. It's like some of it, if you look, the continuity is quite bad, you know, because Bonnie will say, oh, put that on. I said, I'm not going to lay down there and get the clothes dirty, it's a bloody Mario coat, you know. So, like, a lot of it was what we wore for work, basically, you know.
But it was also part, I mean, you know, that style was.
We used
you
to
know,
wear
Bubba's.
Crombie's, boots, especially got to a fight, you know.
Yeah, because it was like by '68 the mob thing had sort of, you know, there were those who went a bit more psychedelic, and then the other ones who sort of, well, you know, became more boots and braces side of things.
Yeah.
So that was kind of more the end that you guys were at. Really,
Yeah,
I
well,
guess.
in the cafe, you can see
Yeah.
I've got a pair of stay press on.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's
so
right.
it's stay press braces. You know, Ben Sherman's.
Yes, yes.
Gone for the Ben Sherman. It was Brutus. It was cheaper.
That's it. Yeah.
Aaron jackets. You know,
Yeah.
the old, I don't know, I call them pork pie hats. I don't know what the actual.
That's right. Yeah, pork pie hats.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny, really, because by the time the Royal Premier had come around, you know, the guys, the fashion was moving on at that time. Even you know, the hair was getting longer, sideburns. You know, it was getting more sort of into that early 70s. You know,
those checks.
yeah, things were getting a bit more, slightly more flary. So yeah, things were moving at a bit of a pace. So, but yeah, you know, you guys had your fingers on the pulse. I think of that style at that time.
I think we done everything. You know, when a bit iffified and
Yes.
and was sort of skinhead and you know, and suede. You know, anything that didn't do was punk. You know.
That's it. Any other questions, folks? Oh, there's an arm waving there at the back.
Nobody's mentioned the motorbike.
Oh, the motorbike, the BSA.
Well, that
Yes.
was supposed to have been a scooter, but I don't think the budget went to it.
I'm interested to see how you got down to the Ace Cafe.
Say that again.
Was that the Ace Cafe you got to? Because I saw
I'm not sure where that was. I was probably tucked up in bed then when it was being filmed.
So that would have been a bit far away from Stratford.
far away, because I live over in us. So there was interesting motorbike scenes, of course. Crash helmets, and never. You'd never think of wearing a crash helmet. It was sort of a sissy thing to do.
I used to have some laughs on that bike. You know, sort of Georgie driving it, and like we were trying to get four of us standing up on it, and you know, doing a flying angel type job, like yeah.
Anyway, thanks so much.
And Barney was ripping his hair out.
Any more questions?
I was just wondering if the scene in the tunnel was that Woolwich Foot tunnel.
This, you know, the tunnel.
Yeah, Woolwich, yeah.
That's Woolwich.
Yes.
But this is really weird because I had personally the same experience with two skinheads in 1977.
It wasn't me at the time.
I'm really glad to know that.
Do we have any more questions? We've got another one here. So there's a few guys here.
Do you enjoy watching the film now? Do you revisit it often, or is this the first time you've seen it in a while?
This is probably the first time I've seen it in a while. Yeah, I'm not the other gentleman. I got it on the Blu-ray, but I don't watch it. Yeah.
And did you enjoy watching it?
Yeah, I did. It brought back some good memories. You know, and especially like he used to take us to these nice wine bars and and steakhouses. Yeah, I like a T-bone, get chips, wait, hold on, we'll have the lot.
And there was another question, I believe, further up there.
Do you have any anecdotes about the actress that played Irene?
Irene, yeah. I remember she sent me once, she said, "You don't like me." I don't dislike you. I said, "But you come from West London and we're East." But no, she was a nice girl. But what happened was, this is what I was told, she always thought she was going to die on her 40th when she was 40. On her 40th birthday, she was dancing on the floor and killed over and died. Yeah. And Jeff, the fellow in the film with glasses, he was done well for himself in business. He had a builder's company and everything. And he took all the boys out for a drink one Christmas Eve. And I think he dropped something in the road, went to pick it up, and a car hit him in the head. And that was all. They turned off the life support machine on Christmas night.
he'd only just very recently retired, hadn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
At 50 years old. Yeah. That was very, very tragic.
You don't know what's around the corner, do you?
But Irene, the girl who plays Irene, Anne Gooding, she was from Fulham, so she was, I think, the only one not from the East End in the film. But she worked in, I thought it was a local, Barney's news agent.
I thought it was a supermarket type.
Supermarket, something like that, yeah, co-op or something like that.
Yeah.
And he obviously, saw her and thought, she looks very photogenic, and I think he asked her, did she want to be in the film? So that's how she got that part. Yeah.
But Bill, his girlfriend, she caused some trouble. It was like she didn't like him kissing her, and don't talk to her, and she played up something terrible. Poor old Bill, he went through it. No tongues.
What was it like when Barney, because Barney didn't want to bother going to pick up the Writers Guild of Great Britain award, and he sent you and Del and Del's girlfriend, the three of you went along that night, didn't you?
Yeah.
You had the old tuxedos.
What's her name? Maury Downporter, was it, or someone? Yeah. What a beautiful woman. Oh, she was gorgeous. She come in there, she was absolutely stunning, and we were sitting on a table with some names, and they'd done different films, and our table was only able to get an award. And there was other awards going on, and there was a comedian called Turner, June Turner. She's picked me up, and we were dancing around like the old thing, like there's Eric Morgan, not Eric, who's the other one, short fat early one. And he's there, and he's up and there, and he's giving it so big, and they could dance, mate. I tell you, showing off a bit, but good luck to them. That was good.
I just wanted to ask you. You've spoken already just about the fact that not very many people after the film, on the acting side that is, went into the business or whatever, but I just wondered, after the film or even during it, did it impact on your life? And when the film was all done and dusted, did you pretty much segue back into your regular life, or did it hang about for a while and then life got back to normal again?
It hung around for a while, there was showings, we went to different showings and things like that. But what was it? No, I won't tell that story. Yeah, it hung around for a while. Sam got asked to do some singing, but nothing came of that.
I think, is this true or not, at one point when EastEnders started, the soap opera, Joan
Joan Littlewood, she said, why don't you just go down and put your name down at Pinewood? Tell them I sent you. So she said, because you're better actors than that plastic lot they got down there. but we never done it, Everything you do is you don't go and put someone's name up and go one of the girls was with Joan. She got stage management, and I don't know if she was any good at it or not, but she had a falling out with the owner, or it was someone above her, a director maybe. Anyway, he had a right go at her. She told Joan, and he got the sack. I tell you, she wasn't a lady to mess with.
Do we have any more for any more? Oh, we have another arm at the back here. Making you work, Roy.
Troy.
Yeah, hello. Saw that's part of the kind of thing that's going on. Bullet Boy last week, and I noticed in the notes they gave out that a lot of the people in the Hackney area were kind of kicked back against the portrait of Hackney that was portrayed. I wonder if there was any kickback from the people of Stratford on the way your film was being portrayed, the society there?
Good question. I don't really know, to be honest with you. Obviously, when we was going out, so I go, oh, I seen out of that film, you know, and things like that. But there was nothing sort of ever.
No, I don't think there was any. I'm not aware of that. To be honest, I never heard about any of that.
Do you think that might have been something to do with the way the film was prepared, in as much as Bullet Boy was in effect an outsider coming in to portray Hackney, whereas...
Yes.
Yes, possibility.
Because there was so much local involvement with Bronco, you know. It was, you know, family and friends and all sorts of people involved with it. So, yes.
I'm from Benton Park originally, just down the road from where
Yeah.
you've done all this. Are you a West Ham fan?
Of course I am.
No, it's great to see you, and I remember did Sam's dad have a pub?
Yeah, the White Horse, was
That's
it?
I couldn't think of the name of it. Yeah. I know Sam
Yeah,
had a bit of trouble.
He had a turnout in there one night, and he come out with half a ear.
Yeah. But you still live in Stratford?
I do, yeah.
Ah, most go out of Essex, don't they?
Yeah. I can't be an Essex boy.
Anyway, it's great. You was great in it, mate.
Oh, thank you.
I love that film. It was a cult thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When I was 13 then, and it was all. I saw it at Beckingtree or somewhere. You know, for anyone from the East End, that was massive. Yeah. It was a cult, wasn't it? But it's great to see you. Thanks.
Is that it? Oh, you want it all? Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Roy. Thanks a lot. Really enjoyed that. And thank you again. Thank you all very much for coming.